Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Andrew Gambater. And for top stories, newly appointed cabinet ministers sworn in. Asian Development Bank provides $100 million in emergency support to Mongolia. A Mongolian family of professional chess players is training in Hungary. And for the news, stay tuned. During the Tuesday session of Parliament, Prime Minister Oyurden's new cabinet ministers were sworn in. 10 cabinet ministers will also hold seats in Parliament, as permitted by recent amendments to the Constitution. The new members of cabinet include Hamar Oysatlan serving as the head of the Cabinet Secretariat, Sunhuatar, Minister of Capital City Affairs, Batirtan, Minister of Olympics, Physical Culture and Sports, Hurluatar, Minister of Economy and Development, and Sarangir, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. Bemtsocht will serve as Minister of Road and Transport Development, Batorchotlo Minister of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry, Ochiril Minister of Digital Development and Communications, Chajisuru Minister of Energy, and Gambater Minister of Mining and Heavy Industry. The new cabinet will operate with 21 ministries. 9 ministries from the previous cabinet will remain, and 5 ministries will serve without ministries. The minister in charge of port revitalization has not been appointed. The Asian Development Bank has approved $100 million in emergency support to the government of Mongolia to help it weather the impacts of severe economic shocks.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine and continuing border restrictions with the People's Republic of China due to COVID-19 have caused substantial fiscal stress in Mongolia. In response, the government has prepared a counter-cyclical development expenditure program to help poor and vulnerable groups ease inflationary pressure and support macroeconomic stabilization. This ADB loan will support government measures to stabilize the economy, said ADB financial sector specialist for East Asia Peter Rosenkrantz. Currently, Mongolia is experiencing a widening current account deficit, increased pressure on foreign exchange reserves, and rising external financing needs. Rising food and fuel prices are eroding purchasing power and increasing poverty. Inflation spiked to 16.1% nationwide as of June 2022 and was particularly high for food and fuel. With 1 in 4 people in Ulaanbaatar living below the poverty line, rising costs are particularly challenging for the poor, who spend an average 43% of their total income on food, compared with 32% spent on food by non-poor households. External shocks disproportionately affect poor and vulnerable groups, including women and girls. Women are highly concentrated in lower-wage sectors such as services, food production, and wholesale and retail trade, which have been most adversely affected by the pandemic because of mobility restrictions. This program will reach 1.2 million children in 64% of the country's households through direct cash transfers. The emergency support provided will expand social protection support to vulnerable households under Counter-Cyclical Development Expenditure Program until the end of 2022. The program will support other key government measures, including 50% reimbursements of Social Security premium contributions for lower-paid employees for the rest of 2022, and 8.5% salary increases for lowest-earning public service employees, 3/4 of whom are women. It will also provide about 16,000 new kindergarten spaces for young children in poor areas.
Now let's take a look at the report from MNB's correspondent in Hungary. In 2019, a significant event took place for Mongolian chess players when Namirtan Dawatimbril, at the age of 19, became a grandmaster, qualifying for the highest title in the world of chess under the International Chess Federation's updated rankings. Our reporters met Namirtan and her family, who currently live in Hungary, and talked about their future plans.
In 2015, Namirtan became the world's first female professional chess player to win the titles of Women Grandmaster and National Master in the same year. She lives in Hungary and continues to train there. We met with 22-year-old Namirtan and talked about her future plans and immediate goals.
During the competition season, I train in chess skills for about 7 to 8 hours a day and have physical training for 1 to 2 hours. If there are no competitions, I train in chess for about 4 to 5 hours a day. I also have private coaching team led by my father and a Hungarian coach. I have received invitations from 6 countries to become a national team member.
Her father noticed her talent for chess when she was 5 years old. Her first international competition was the 2006 Children's Games held in Russia, where she won a silver medal. At the age of 10, she became the junior world champion, and at 14, she won the titles of International Master and Women's Grandmaster, becoming the youngest Mongolian female chess player to achieve these titles. Her father, Tawatimbril, decided to move to Hungary to improve Namirtin's training environment. As a professional chess player himself, he likes training his daughters and taught his children how to play chess at a young age. His daughter Namirtin started playing chess at the age of 3 and won the Hungarian Youth Chess Championship.
We moved to Hungary in 2014. The reason for moving to Hungary was to improve my daughter Namirtin's skills. We wanted her to compete at the international level. Of course, Hungary and Mongolia have similar nomadic cultures. Plus, the country is famous for its internationally renowned chess players. Since arriving in Hungary, Namirtin has participated in more than 100 competitions and contests.
We wish these young Mongolian chess players good luck and success in their future endeavors.
Here's the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at our international news from our partner agencies. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said on Tuesday that his country is well prepared to tackle a possible energy shortage in the coming months due to Russia's squeeze on European gas supplies.
Scholz said the impacts of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on the energy supply in Europe would be a focus of his government's two-day retreat that Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will also take part in. In recent months, Germany has reactivated oil and coal-fired power plants, leased 4 floating terminals for importing liquefied natural gas, and required the country's gas storage operators to fill their facilities to capacity ahead of the winter months. Scholz said gas storage facilities are already over 80% full, more than they were at this time last year.
Unlike last year, our gas storage facilities are already over 80% full, and we will continue to fill them to be prepared for the coming winter. We have made sure, with the legislative changes, that we get power plants running again so that we can save gas. Coal-fired power plants are coming back online bit by bit.
At the same time, Germany is considering extending the operating life of its 3 remaining nuclear power plants beyond the plant shutdown date at the end of this year. A decision on that is expected soon. The government is expected to agree a further package of measures in the coming days to help German consumers cope with steeply rising energy prices and high inflation.
European Union ministers are debating ways to ramp up weapons production and boost military training for the Ukrainian armed forces. During talks in the Czech capital, Prague, on Tuesday, defense ministers will discuss how best to pool military material and resources, as well as the bulk of purchase of ammunition and weapons like air defense systems.
We are providing so many capacities to Ukraine that we have to refill our stocks, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell told reporters in the Czech capital, Prague, where he is chairing 2 days of talks between the bloc's defense and foreign ministers. They are also discussing a possible European Union role in training new Ukrainian recruits on European soil. Later Tuesday, foreign ministers discussed whether to impose further visa restrictions on Russians in an effort to ramp up pressure on President Vladimir Putin, as the war he launched 6 months ago inflicts heavy economic costs on European and world economies.
The World Health Organization's Europe Director Hans Kluge said on Tuesday the monkeypox outbreak may be slowing in the European region. Kluge also sounded the alarm in a resurgence of the polio virus in several countries, urging communities to get vaccinated as soon as possible.
The European region has recorded more than 22,000 confirmed cases across 43 countries and areas representing more than a third of the global tally.
With the European region recording more than 22,000 confirmed cases across 43 countries and areas, representing more than a third of the global tally. There are encouraging early signs, as evidenced in France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, the United Kingdom, and other countries, that the outbreak may be slowing. To move towards elimination in our region, we need to urgently step up our efforts. Yet we believe we can eliminate sustained human-to-human transmission of monkeypox in the region if we commit to doing so and put the needed resources towards that end.
At the press briefing last week, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said although there were indications the monkeypox outbreak was slowing in Europe, which once accounted for 90% of the world's lab-confirmed cases, the spread of the virus was now causing concerns elsewhere. To date, more than 45,000 monkeypox cases have been reported in 98 countries since late April. The Americas accounted for 60% of cases in the past month, WHO said, while cases in Europe comprised about 38%. It said infections in the Americas showed a continuing steep rise. Kluge also sounded the alarm on the resurgence of the polio virus in several countries, urging communities to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Polio is a disease often spread in water that mostly affects children under 5. It has mostly been wiped out from developed countries, but outbreaks remain in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and parts of Africa. For years, global health officials have used billions of drops of an oral vaccine in a remarkably effective campaign aimed at wiping out polio in its last remaining strongholds, typically poor, politically unstable corners of the world. Now, in a surprising twist in the decades-long effort to eradicate the virus, authorities in Jerusalem, New York, and London have discovered evidence that polio is spreading there. Scientists have long known about this extremely rare phenomenon. That is why some countries have switched to other polio vaccines. But these incidental infections from the oral formula are becoming more glaring as the world inches closer to eradication of the disease, and the number of polio cases caused by the wild or naturally circulating virus plummets. Since 2017, there have been 396 cases of polio caused by the wild virus, versus more than 2,600 linked to the oral vaccine, according to figures from the World Health Organization and its partners.
Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. The Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series announced Tuesday that Open Championship winner and world number 2 Cameron Smith has joined the Rebel Professional Golf Tour along with 5 other players. The 29-year-old Australian becomes the highest-ranked player to join LIV Golf. He'll compete in the series' next event, the LIV Golf Invitational Boston at the International Golf Club in Massachusetts. Chilean world number 19 Joaquin Newman, Harold Varner III, Cameron Tringale, Mark Leishman and Anirban Lahiri have also joined LIV Golf. All of the joining players will compete in the LIV Golf Invitational Boston, which takes place from September 2nd through 4th. The Breakaway Series is funded by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, a sovereign wealth fund chaired by Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and the man who a U.S. intelligence report named as responsible for approving the operation that led to the 2018 murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Bin Salman has denied involvement in Khashoggi's murder. LIV Golf has offered huge amounts of money for players to leave the established golf tours, the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, in favor of the new series. Players leaving for the LIV Golf Tour have been suspended by the PGA Tour and have been criticized for abandoning golf's foundations. They have also been criticized for accepting money from a country with the dismal human rights records. Human rights groups have protested against the country for conducting mass executions and for its treatment of gay people. The PIF has pledged to award $250 million in total prize money. Each of the first 7 events will have a total prize purse of $25 million, with $20 million split between individual players and the remaining $5 million shared between the top 3 teams at the end of each week. For each event, players are split into 12 teams, and unlike typical golfing events, tournaments are held over 3 days, not 4, with the 48-man field beginning with a shotgun start, all at the same time, in the hopes of being more engaging, action-packed style event.
You know, in general, all the names on there.
New Zealand beat Olympic champion Fiji 28-21 in the final of the Los Angeles Rugby Sevens tournament Sunday immediately after Australia clinched its first World Series title. A championship decided in the penultimate match of a season which began 9 months ago. Several teams were in the hunt for the title when the last tournament began and new potential winners emerged as fortunes changed over 2 eventful days. South Africa entered the tournament atop the World Series standings but only 2 points clear of Australia. When South Africa was twice beaten in the group stage by the United States and New Zealand, it missed out on the quarterfinals of the Elite Cup division, and Australia's chances of claiming the world title increased.
I'm so happy. I don't think it's sunk in yet, but yeah, just a huge accomplishment for so much hard work, and I couldn't be prouder of the whole squad, even the guys back at RA. Everyone's contributed, and it's just fantastic, mate, for Australian rugby.
Finally, a confident and well-drilled Australian team beat Samoa 31-7 to take 3rd place in the tournament and join their national women's team, who already are World Series champions. Australia is just the 5th nation after Fiji, New Zealand, South Africa and Samoa to win the men's World Series title. Here's the weather forecast of all major cities. Well, that's all for today and thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.